We're gonna jump right into this. So this morning I got a message right when I got doing my morning routine and whatnot, and I brought to my attention when Ray came into my house. I was like, someone had messaged me about what's going on in their life, and it was really cool to. It was really interesting to see that there's actually people going through like certain problems and the real challenges that millennials or even anybody is like facing these days. So it's really cool to see people reaching out to me and like honestly like opening up to me because it's so hard for people to open up even when they're in such a vulnerable place in their life. And I just think that it makes me so happy that people are reaching out to me because of the what we're doing and stuff. But I'm gonna read uh I'm gonna read off what she said to me, and then we're just gonna go straight into it. Sound good?
Yeah.
Sounds
Okay.
great.
Awesome. So what she had asked me, she says, "What helped you get out of the slump you were in?" I do remember there was a time where you were depressed and felt a little hopeless because I remembered you talking to us about it before. What completely helped you get out of that mindset? It's hard to get out of it's like so hard to get out of that. Like it's so hard to get out of being sad and
Yeah.
like you're in such a dark place. Like you're in such a dark place that like you're thinking that like there's nothing that's like there for you, and you worry about like where your life is going.
Mm-hmm.
And like I never what pushed me out of that was the fact that I figured out like I'm good. Like I love myself and I'm young, and the only thing that I can do is contribute. And it really when I see other people, and the whole premise of this channel, it's because of the fact that like there's other things happening, and there's other things happening that's bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we talk about topics like this about like depression, it's such a touchy subject for people.
Yeah.
And it's even talking about it, it's like ooh, like you're
Right.
it's
like a little uncomfortable.
yeah, it's a little uncomfortable, but the fact that we're jumping into it and like we're actually like flinching forward to it is what's gonna make it like even more so people are more emotionally connected because there's so many people going through depression.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's good for people to see how like for you and I like we got out of that, and but we're not completely out of it, but we understand like how to move from it by step by step by step. Mm-hmm. And seeing what's helping us and seeing what's not. So what was the first step for you to like step out of depression?
I didn't realize I was in it completely where until I started noticing that the same patterns would repeat.
Mm-hmm.
I was the nice guy. I want all the time, like, I don't really like confrontation. I don't really like those kind of things. So, like, I was very passive about a lot of things. But because we don't talk about it, I had to deal with it by myself because I didn't know what I was going through. Mm-hmm. I would be around other people, but because I couldn't explain, I was very good at projecting. And
What do you mean
making you feel how I felt inside.
Oh, okay.
So I'm uncomfortable. I'm about to make you uncomfortable. And then not knowing that because of how I'm carrying myself, other people just don't want to get caught in the crossfires. I look angry.
Mm-hmm.
I look mad. I look like I'm about to blow up. So everybody scatters. But at the same time, because I'm putting that vibe out, I can't blame them for wanting to not be around my energy. Right? But I didn't know what I was going through. Instead, I was like, yo, I'm going through a struggle. How come you let me struggle and you're not trying to help me out? Yeah. I was blaming everybody else, and I was like a victim. I was the one who was like, oh, me. And like, what are you going to do for me? And like, sad face though, but the world doesn't owe you shit.
Yeah. But that's how you felt like.
But in my mind, I couldn't get away from that. I was all like, why's everybody gotta be so fucked up? Why does it have to be like this? Why they gotta do that? This always happens to me. Like, you know, it was going around there.
Yeah.
But life isn't fucking fair.
No.
If you want to win, you better be ready to lose it sometimes.
So what were some things that you're doing while like you're depressed to like cope with depression?
Well, I thought that it was working for me when like I would hang out with everybody and drink, do drugs, like and just have a great time and a blast.
Mm-hmm.
But then the recovery part of it, like
the day after.
Like the day after, like, because if you drink all the time, it causes like depressive moods. Yeah. Because you have to recover. You feel like you're sick, you're dying, and then like, hey, let's do it again.
Yeah.
You know, like
doing drugs, and it fills that void. It fills that void like within you, like because you know, smoking and drinking, it gives you shots of dopamine. So when you're smoking and drinking, you get that dopamine high, and you're like, oh shit, like I'm with the homies and shit. Like for me, it was like the way I coped with my being depressed was smoking and drinking, doing drugs, and then making other people happy. But the reason why I made other people happy was because I was like looking for happiness within them. Yeah.
Same.
But there's bringing up the topic about what my friend said. She says, because I feel like me being depressed is really holding me back, I know I'll end up having to be on meds for anxiety disorder. But I just want to know if there are better coping skills till I'm actually able to get the proper help.
There's like things that you can do, like meditation and breathing exercises. Like with meditation, it's like if your mind is like it's a filing cabinet. If it's like it's all over the fucking place, right?
Yeah.
Well, you need to start picking up some shit and start filing it where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And it's okay to go through some of those emotions because then you can recognize it in your body, what is happening, and you can better express yourself to people who are around you. It's okay to say, hey, I'm kind of going down right now. Like, especially when you recognize the feeling in your body, when you're more in tune with yourself. Like, hey, I'm kind of down, but I still want to be around you guys.
Yeah.
But if you could just act normal, like, I just want to be around your energy, but I don't want to be by myself so I don't fall in too much.
What's very good that she knows that she's in that depressed state, which is really good. Like being aware of like where you're at mentally and emotionally. It's that's like the first step, and then that's when you start reverse engineering. Like, how can I get out of this? And you start figuring out like things that will make you happy as a person, and you don't have to go to like external sources to bring in happiness for your life.
But since you were doing that for a while to cope with it, like how did you even like see it that you were doing that to cope with it, and how did you even know that like you were in a bad spot that you needed to get out of?
There was like numerous events for me. I got caught up with the police, and because I got caught having drugs, and I went to jail. So once you realize, like when I was in jail, I realized that what kind of man do I want to be to my family or even my friends? Who do you want to be? Like, and then when you're sitting in your cellar and you're eating food from a fucking plate in your fucking bunk bed with like three guys that you have no idea who it is, that's when you start questioning your shit. Like, what the fuck am I doing here?
So it had to get you to that like deep down point for you to have like a wake up call.
It was literally just understanding. Is this all life has to offer for me? Is this all that I set out for myself? And then you start thinking like, who do I want to be? What kind of world do I see myself living in with my family and my friends and everyone else? Me being in there, my closest family members and the people that love me the most, they're worrying. They're worried. They're going fucking nuts. And the reason why I know this is because the people that love you, all they do is worry.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm in jail and being in that state of like when I start thinking about like the people that love me the most, I'm like, dude, I don't want these people to worry about me anymore. Because all they want for you is the best.
I see. But before that, you had no perspective of that at all?
I didn't know I was depressed.
I mean, like, of like these people that care for you.
Before
Like,
that, no.
You didn't think of...
When you're like our age, like
Yeah.
when you're in your 20s and like you're 18, 19, 17, like you literally, the only thing you fucking care about is having fun.
Yeah.
And that's it. But then when you realize that, shit, I was just trying to have fun, and you find yourself in jail, it's like
a stop.
It's like what the fuck are you doing?
Jeez.
But
that's insane.
Yeah, man.
So that was kind of like your call to like, or that's kind of like what brought to light like oh shit.
You're in like the lowest point of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Or you would think you're in the lowest point in your life.
Yeah, or whatever it is for you.
And like you don't even know if you can get up from that. But once you realize that the only thing you can do is get up, that's when you start changing shit for you.
Yeah.
Like I started realizing that learning and self-improvement and self-love gave me the same effect as like smoking weed and like drinking and shit.
Yeah,
because it's still dopamine shots.
Yeah, it just made you happy, like.
Yeah, it made me happy. Like, holy shit, I just learned something new about myself.
I see.
But yeah, that's what pushed me, and that's what pushed me. Like I started replacing a lot of my old habits, like drinking, smoking, and partying. I started looking within myself to figure out what makes me happy as a person.
Mm-hmm. That's insane, dude. It's crazy that I had to get to that point, you know. I feel like some people just get stuck in a spot where there's no calling for them. Like, I mean, what do you think is like something that people can do then? Like we talk about like, oh, like see yourself, realize yourself, but like how do you even get to that point when you're coming from such a bad spot?
Some of it, like when you dwell on some of the things, it's because of you're a people pleaser. And so sometimes when certain people you like don't look good in their eyes, it makes you hurt, especially if you're a people pleaser.
Yeah.
You know, like, and so like sometimes there were moments where I would dwell on certain situations of pain. Everybody goes through pain, but when you choose to go through suffering, that's like something happened 2 months ago, but it's still happening in your mind. This is how depression works, from how it did for me. Like that replay was so real that it got even more intense. It's almost like if you're watching a scary movie, that scary part is so amplified, it's loud.
Yeah.
And then you're just stuck. No matter anybody says, oh, hey, it's all in your head. You know, get yourself out of that own rut or whatever. Like, what?
Yeah, like, but it's, people are still, like, people can say that, but then you don't know. Like, you don't know what the fuck is happening with me.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know you don't know, like, the shit that I've been through. So it's like, when people are saying stuff like that, like, oh, you just be happy. Like, everyone's like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, just go be happy. Like, what the hell? Like, it's like, what does that mean? Just go be happy. I can't even find happiness within myself to even go find happiness. People are like, fucking just find happiness. They pick it off the ground. Like, oh shit, I found happiness. Like,
oh, there it is.
I see.
I didn't know. My bad.
But it's like when you think about like millennials, I'm pretty sure a lot of us feel that way. It's like, they're like, fuck you. Like, I can't just be happy because I have like a bunch of shit. But then, like, yes, there's a bunch of reasons. They're real reasons that you're depressed and you're out, like, you can't find happiness. You don't love yourself, and you self-criticize yourself, and you don't value yourself and your self-worth. Like, yes, there's a bunch of real reasons, but the only thing that's gonna push you to fucking start loving yourself is the one real reason to love yourself. That one reason. There's 1,000 different excuses and like negative talk about yourself, but the only thing that's gonna push you up is that one real reason. And then you take hold of it and you don't let go. For me, it was like shit. I just want the best for everyone. And then I took hold of that and I anchored that and I leveraged it, and it's pushing me so far into a point where I can see clearly in my future. Like, fuck all the negative talk.
Yeah.
Like, leverage like, negativity is so loud.
It is.
But we gotta make positivity loud. Like, what the fuck you got? Like, why are people so hard on themselves?
Everybody is going through something right now, and it sucks because nobody talks about it.
Mm-hmm.
We are so good at filters on Facebook, and we make everything look nice and pretty because we get to choose what we put on there. Most of the time, people always put positive stuff.
Yeah.
But like, this is real talk.
Yeah.
This right here, like, I'm like usually happy-go-lucky. I'm all over the place. I'm like trying to make people laugh because it feels good. But then there's moments where I'll go through it and I'm like, I need someone to do that for me, and I can't find nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then depression hits harder and harder and harder. But then because you're that nice guy, everybody thinks you're doing just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They think you're doing good, you're doing gravy and stuff. And then you talk about it. You never think that these people go through things like this.
Mm-hmm.
But the coping part, the recognizing is the first, because you can't fix something you don't think is broken.
Mm-hmm.
But how is it like to be around other people who are clinically depressed? That like, how's it like?
Let me know if you guys think this is like true, but like, I mean, it's kind of true for me when I get sad. So I don't know if it's the same for like, I mean, I'm sure it has like, similarities to being depressed, but like, like it's like, I feel like it's exhausting for them to even try to interact with me. Like, it's like, like they have so much baggage going on with whatever background they have.
Oh yeah, they're like, fuck you. Like,
Yeah, yeah, they just have no energy to even be like, like match how I'm trying to be courteous to them. Like, hey, like, how's it going? Like, it's, I mean, was it like that for you guys? Like, like how
being depressed.
yeah, like in that state, like it was just exhausting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think when you're depressed, well, because I didn't even know. Like, you don't even know. But then but I think not being aware of if you're in depression is like, you kind of like stop looking, like you start looking for it, like in other things.
What do you mean?
Like, you start doing drugs and you start like, partying, drink and smoke and all that shit, and like you're trying to like make people happy that don't really give a fuck about you. But it's weird because I never wanted to be alone.
Yeah.
Like I hated it. You're like in your head, and you start thinking of like all like the worst things about yourself and shit. But
And you didn't want that at all.
No, like
you don't want to be alone.
Yeah, that's why I always had to have like someone or something around me, because like I always needed something to like grab onto.
You were trying to occupy your mind by keeping yourself busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to. That's how I used to do with it. Like, I'd go out, I'd go to the bars, I'd go and have like party time, just to keep you away from that feeling. And then I went through a different part where then I just wanted to be alone all the time.
Really?
Like,
was that afterwards? Like
now
after?
In my older life. Like, well, I'm 32 now, but I mean, when I was like young, when I was like 19, 20, 21, all those years, and all the way maybe up to 27, I needed to be like with other people. Like, I was extroverted. In order for me to have a little bit of energy within me, I had to grab on hold to other people. Like, hey, I need to get some from you and you and you and you. Like, the more people, the more merrier,
You get fucked up.
Yeah. Together. And like, it's almost like I was always the hype man. I'm always like, yeah. And then everybody they're pumped. They want to be around you. They're like, yeah. But then there's moments that life happens and you come down a little bit from that. Then it gets real. But then you realize there's like some people are for fun, and then some people are not. How I realized it was a problem is when I started to destroy a lot of my relationships.
Oh yeah?
Where rather than count my blessings about the people who want to be in my life and be around me, I would hurt them, like verbally. Like, because I'm uncomfortable. I didn't know how to tell other people, like, hey, I'm going through it.
So you would rather kind of just cut it off instead of like...
I would like either go ghost, like a lot of people do, because they're afraid of confrontation. They're afraid to say out loud what they're really feeling, or own up to their voice, or whatever it is. Like, you're afraid of something, and so you run. I was a runner. I would run from situations when it would get too hard, and then like I didn't know what to do when it got too hard, so I ran, changed it up, did something else, and then like when I was in my relationships with like my significant other, I would be like that nice guy, super nice, super nice, super nice, you know, like super sweet and everything. But um, I had a temper.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what to do beyond the point of being angry.
Why is
I
that?
blow up. I would everything you've said to me in confidence. I'm using it.
Was that because it was like depression was like?
It would. I was like passive, and then aggressive.
Yeah.
So what,
And then,
you were holding it in every time something like bothered you? You would hold it
like
in?
I had this barrel on my back, and every time something would happen, I would toss it in there. But because I didn't want to say anything,
Yeah.
I was the nice guy.
So
Just
did
kept
you?
on putting it in there. But you know, the straw that breaks the camel's back. That shit, it happens. Like you spilled a cup of water, but it's like you poked a hole in the Hoover Dam. It's like a flood now that's coming out.
So when you lash out per se, like is that because you feel victimized? Like you feel like it's someone's fault that you have to carry that baggage in you, like on your back, you know? So that's what you're like. That's
Like
what.
low key. I mean, cause like you know, it's because I had to learn that like people are gonna hurt you, and there's things that are going to happen, but it's your responsibility to clean it up. But sometimes when you get hurt, you feel like it's their responsibility to clean that shit up because they hurt you. But sometimes that person doesn't even know that you're hurting because of them. You're the one who can't sleep at night. That's why forgiveness is for you and not the other person.
That's why it's important to forgive yourself, like before anything. Then you move on. Then you move on from it. Like what I do is like I acknowledge whatever emotion it is, or like one of the big things that helped me get out of like being depressed was like acknowledging every emotion that's coming into me, acknowledging it, and if it's bad, then I forgive it. If it's good, then I'm like fuck yeah. But if it's bad, then I'm like I acknowledge it and then I forgive it and then I move on. Because like if you hold on to like, oh I'm fucking pissed, then it's gonna like consume like every like action that's like happening like around you as of like present moment, and you can't do that. You just acknowledge, forgive, and then move on, and then your life moves on and you're fucking happy about shit, you know. So if I were to ask you guys, why do you think it's so important that we're going over this topic in general, going over being depressed?
I feel because of how Instagram and social medias, we get to choose what we put out there, and most of the time, everybody likes to make their life look really fluffy. Like it looks like extravagant. It's nice. Hey, you know, like everything's good. You know. Yeah. But in reality, there's moments that you go through stress, you go through hardship, you go through life functions.
It's good to just go over it because I don't think people are gonna even like step into a topic like this because it's such a touchy thing.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Like, I know it already takes a lot for someone to even try to ask for help because, I mean, I don't know. It's such a weird place to like admit like you're like what I would think like you're lacking in, like, you know, like you think that you're so. I mean, I don't know, like I feel like there's a lot of factors that go into it, but I know that people just don't want to even bring it up. Like even now, like this is hard to talk about because it's such a touchy subject that like, you know, people try to avoid because it's so like, you know, like you want to look away because it's so ugly, you know?
Because like it's people are just because you're open up to someone. Like, what if someone's like, oh, fuck your feelings? You know?
That's the thing too. That's what's scary. You know, it's like you get rejected, and like since coming from a bad place, I feel like that would just make it worse.
Telling someone that you love them, and they're like, no, I don't fucking love you.
Like no, what?
That's fucked up.
Or they don't say anything back.
I feel like one thing too that's like important about why it's you know that we need to talk about things like this is because I feel like people that are going through something similar to what you guys go through and like what everybody else goes through when it comes to depression is like, I feel like you don't want to ask for help because you don't want to be a bother.
Yeah.
Like you think that this is already such a heavy burden on yourself that like you gotta put it on other people too, and like there's already so many things going on that's making you not want to even. Like,
you know, I think it's
mess with anybody.
I think it's pride.
Pride?
Yeah, so? I think people are prideful to ask for help.
Yeah, I mean,
definitely.
I can see that as a problem, but I see it more as like guilt. like they don't want to bother you because they're in such a low like they like,
well, I think it's if you're a nice person.
Yeah, if you're a nice person.
Like if you're a proud person and like you don't want to ask for help.
Yeah,
then that's just pride at that point.
I feel like pride has a lot to do with that for someone like to be put in a state where they think they're depressed because like it's such a limiting thing to have in yourself.
But
like,
then it's okay to like ask for help.
Yeah, so it's okay like, to ask for help.
Yeah, it's like, but I think being prideful, you have to realize like shit, you're not here for yourself.
Yeah,
you're not here by yourself. But I think a lot of people have that mindset too.
Yeah, that's true.
There's people I know that are like that. Like there's a lot of, they don't want to ask. They don't answer because they're like they think they have everything together.
So they think they have everything together, or like they think that at least that they should have everything together. It's like when they ask for help, it's like oh, you're not strong
they get
anymore.
Defensive. Yeah,
you know, especially when you're going through such a bad point in your life. Like, of course, you're gonna be super conscious about like man, like if I ask them, that means I'm vulnerable and I don't know what I'm supposed to know. And like, I feel like that's what helps people, or that's what helps people get stuck even more. Like, man, like
they don't want to ask people for help.
They don't want to ask people for help. And like the thing is, I think, like coming from someone that I don't think I've really experienced it and seeing it like around me, like. I'm like no one's ever gonna know until you say something, man. Like I'm like if someone was like you know how you said it, like people going through this, it's just you don't even see it.
No.
Like they're just so outward and so like they're the ones that even cheer you up sometimes. They're the life of the party. Like, but you don't know. Like, man, there's some fucked up shit going on in their head.
There have been times where I have opened up. But not everybody knows what to do with you, even though they care so much.
Yeah,
but say,
that's what's hard too.
In their mind, crying is kind of negative. When you're going through so much emotion, right? You're so overwhelmed that tears start flowing, yo.
Yeah.
It's so easy to say these things. Like, these are all like, fuck, you know, like, be happy or, you know, like, get over it. Like...
And I feel like,
you know, if I could just do that, like, I would have done it already.
Yeah,
shit.
I had to be just so honest. Like, and that's what just like everything. Like, be honest with yourself. Be honest with what you want. Be honest what you need to do. Be honest where you need to go. Be honest what you need from someone else. Because if you're not, then it's like you're gonna start resenting people and you start disliking things and you're like, what the fuck, like, and then you start wondering like, well, why did that person stop talking to me? And like I think a lot of like, especially like when you're depressed, you start seeing things differently. You're like, everything's negative, and it's like there's a bunch of negative self-talk. You have so much negative self-talk. You're like, shit, what the fuck am I gonna do now? I'm just gonna bullshit all day and do drugs and just hang out with my friends. And then that's like the negative talking. Like, fuck it, I'm just keep doing it. I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep doing it because my life's not going anywhere. I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep doing it. And it's like there's a point where something's gonna change you, or you're gonna change yourself. And that's up to you. And that's the point where it's like you're gonna let this make or break you. Are you just gonna like give up, or are you gonna fucking step up?
Yeah.
And that's it. And
don't give up though.
Yeah.
Because like if you give up and you let go, you never gave yourself a chance to let it get better. Like there are hotlines to call. There are people in your life that truly care. Everybody has a purpose. Everybody has these dreams and aspirations and things that they want to achieve. But you're stepping in your own way to not get there because you deserve it. But you have to know that you deserve it. When you realize that you deserve that shit too, it's popping because the world doesn't owe you shit. But if you know you deserve it because you do, the doors are now open.
One thing that really helped me too was environment. like changing your environment. Oh yes. Yeah, and really like say like if you're in your room all fucking day and you're sad, then like you're still gonna be sad. Yeah. But one thing that helped me is I changed my environment, and I went and I started going to business for myself. Because business, when you're in business, you're always around highly motivated people, positivity. Everyone's cheering you on, even though you didn't do shit. It's like everyone wants you to like succeed. And once you start like loving yourself and you move from that space of being depressed and you start realizing you're fucking worth it, and you have a part to play in like humanity and society, your whole world starts to change. Like the reason why we're doing this because we want people like we want to help people get out of this.
Yeah.
Because like it matters. Like you matter. Like you guys, like, everyone matters. Once you realize that you have what it takes to take that first step, then you realize that you have what it takes to take the second step, and the third step, and so on until you reach where you want to go.
Yeah, dude.
And that, and then success comes in all different like sizes and like ways. And like once you figure out like what you're living for and why you're here, and you realize that you can actually contribute and make society better, then it's like no one's gonna stop you. You become fucking unstoppable. And like you're never gonna want to go back.
Yeah.
Because it's too good to be where you're at, here, like doing something, making a difference. And it's like, holy shit. What now? Like, what can we do now?
What now?
Yeah. So going to the end of the show, what do you think people can do now, moving past depression?
Like if you're in the slump and you're in the darkness right now, you have to know that your life matters. And so if you want something different out of your life, you have to be willing to do something different. Grounding yourself, like going outside, like go on a hike, go for a walk, do something that moves your body. So you got your blood flowing, you know, you're breathing some fresh air. Like you're not in that stagnant ass room. Like breathing the same air that you just breathed out. Like, dang, you know, come on, open the windows. Let some sunlight come in. Like, you have to be willing to do it. Because, like, nobody's going to sit right next to you and be like, hey, come on, go, 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 go. I mean, you have to be your own cheerleader.
Yeah. I think that's what helps a lot, too, with a step to take first is, like, is what I think is... What helped me with at least what the troubles I had is, like, being present in the moment of where you are, because I know we worry about the past and we're anxious about the future, but I feel like the first step to kind of like looking at our life is just like just take a look at it, like step back, be present, and just like do something that's like gonna matter to you right now, and then from there I feel like you can take these massive steps to kind of move out of that space, and you know, because the first thing we need to do to solve a problem is know that we have one.
Yeah.
You know?
Like you don't have to run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, take some baby steps. If you can't do that, crawl. But move. Do something. You know, like, because shit, you know, like it sucks to see people fall like so hard and then you don't even know that they're hurting like that. Like I've spoken to some of my old friends and I didn't even know they were going through.
Yeah.
Like a closed mouth really doesn't get fed. You have to say something. It's okay to say something. It's okay to need help. It's okay to not be okay, and then tell somebody like, I'm not okay. Like shit. If all you needed is a hug, say it. Like, look, I need some love. You? Yeah. Say it. Be honest with self.
Right. Damn, dude. This makes me want to cry sometimes.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
I know, man.
It's such a touchy subject.
It
is.
It's like fuck. It's like, man. For me, when I think about the times of like depression and like when I was like at the lowest point in my life, it's really like sad and emotional because I was sad and emotional. I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't want to go be there again. And like you it's like you're like, oh, like it's like you don't want to like it's like disgusting almost. And I think I think people should just do a self-reflection and figure out if you're sad or if you're depressed, and then start doing things differently, like just living a different life and changing your patterns and changing your environment. And I think another thing is like hang around the right people. Like if you're with your friends and all you guys are talking about is like sadness and like angry stuff and negativity, that's all that's going to consume your guys' life. It's just that. But I think it's important, like, just love yourself, you know, like understand that you do have what it takes to do something.
Yeah.
I hope this helped, guys. You know, we really we really do appreciate you guys, coming and listening. And if this really helped you, then leave a comment, like let us know what else we can talk about to help you guys. And yeah, thanks for watching.